A man, Will Attenton, quits his job as a successful editor for a New York City publishing house. He wants to focus on writing a book while spending more time with his family. His colleagues let Will go with great joy and wish him success. They tell him that they will miss him, for he was the best editor they ever had. Arriving at home, he meets his beautiful wife, Libby. She is very happy to hear that they will have more time at home. When they are entering the house, their two children, Trish and Dee, surprise their father with a painting on the staircase wall. Happiness radiates from this family. When the kids are asleep, Libby asks Will what novels he will write from home to earn an income. He refuses to give the details and says it will be more fun as a surprise. She also thanks him for the flowers she found on the porch that morning. But it turns out the flower was not from him. He considers the flower from Libby's secret admirer, but they let the thing pass and don't take the matter seriously. The next day, Will is cleaning the snow in his yard when there is a man across the house looking at him with an unfriendly look. His name is Jack Patterson. He is the ex-husband of his neighbor, Ann Patterson. He comes to pick up his daughter, Chloe Patterson. Jack is also being rude and unfriendly to his ex-wife. As he and his daughter left the place with the car, he gave Will a cynical look. At the office, Jack Patterson receives a report of his financial statements that do not look good. He also receives an email reporting doubts that his child custody appeal will be granted. This news successfully stresses him out. Will is working on his book in his room when Dee all of a sudden runs scared and hides under his desk. Trish says that Dee saw a man standing in front of the window. Will checks out the window, but there is no one there. Dee says that the man had a big head and looked evil. Will calms down his daughter and says maybe it was just a tree at the end of the garden. Or it could be just a reflection of herself reflected in the window pane. Suddenly the roof tent fell and shocked them. They laughed together. The next day, Will intends to repair his roof tent. Unexpectedly, he finds footprints the size of a grown man. From the footprints, it seems that the person was observing and watching over his family from every corner of his house. This made him anxious. He is also confused about the person who sent the flower. Libby asks if he is all right. He does not answer her question and just says that Libby looks very beautiful. He asks her to keep looking like that forever. At night, Will wakes up from his sleep because of noises coming from the basement. He finds a group of young people dressed in punk performing a seance ritual. He scolds them. They run away, but Will manages to catch one girl. He asks them what they were doing in the basement of his house. They say that it was all about the murder that happened to the previous owner. Will asks her about the murder. She can't believe that he lives there but doesn't know about the murder case. All of a sudden, one of the boys said he's back. This made them all happy and they walked away, leaving Will even more confused. In the morning, Will meets two policemen. He asks them about the murder case that happened to the former owner of his house. The police do not want to provide any information because the case has not been solved. The police only say that the main suspect was the father and that he might still be alive. At the time of the incident, the father was shot by his wife, but he managed to survive. The police refuse to provide documents of the case because he is not authorized. They try to convince him that their city is now a crime-safe city, but he is not that satisfied with the answer. Will comes home and his two children look scared in their mother's arms. Libby explains that they heard her neighbor's child on the phone out loud, saying that everyone who lived in their house had been killed. This made the children scared. Will goes to his neighbor's house and explains his concern. Anne says she will advise her daughter, Chloe, and says that her 15-year-old daughter starts having bad dreams. Will becomes suspicious and asks if she was the one who put flowers on his porch, but she didn't do it. Will tries to dig up information about the children in the basement, but she admits she doesn't know where they live. Will says goodbye and Anne and Chloe are still staring at him. That night, Libby wakes up and doesn't find her husband. He goes to the basement and finds him cleaning his basement from ritual properties. Libby also reads the writing on the wall that says Peter Ward Slaughterhouse. She asks him who Peter Ward is. Libby finally finds out about the house and they are having an argument. She regrets their decision to move there. He tries to calm her down and says he will do whatever it takes to make the house safe. Libby looks out the window and a man is watching at their house. Will rush outside, but he falls and ended up on the bank of the river. Apparently what Dee saw was true, someone was watching their house. The next day the children are missing. But their parents find them playing in a secret room behind a cupboard. This family finally plays together. Will finds a storybook belonging to Catherine Ward, while Trish finds a toy with Beatrice's name on it. They assume the items belong to the previous occupants. After that, Libby and Will check the film they find in the basement. There is news about the chronology of events. It explains that the family was shot in the back. From there, Will also learns that the suspect was taken to a mental hospital and comes with food and apologizes for what happened earlier. Will tells Libby that Anne is coming, and Libby says she'll see her in a minute. But she doesn't come until the moment when Anne leaves. Will walks over to Libby and questions why she didn't greet her neighbor. She silently points out the location of the house where the family had been shot, marked with bullet holes in the wall. From the old newspapers, they learn that the Greenhaven Mental Hospital was where Peter Ward was being treated. Will goes to the mental hospital. The staff says he has to meet someone and needs to wait first. That's when Will sees Peter Ward's name in rack number 308. He quietly enters room 308. He finds a photo of his family and becomes furious. Suddenly someone touches him from behind. Will assumes that's Peter Ward and tells him to stay away from his family. The man is confused and says that he isn't Peter Ward. He shows him a release letter stating that Peter Ward has been discharged from the hospital. Will comes home. He finally tells Libby the truth that Peter Ward is no longer in the hospital. He tries to convince her that everything is alright, but she is not buying it. All of a sudden, there is a car outside. When Will goes outside, the car tries to hit him and runs away. He assumes that the threat is coming from Peter Ward. Soon, the police arrive. Will tries to tell them everything that happened, but the police don't seem to believe it. This couple is confused as to why the police don't want to help them. The next day, Will goes back to the Greenhaven Mental Hospital and meets someone. He begs for information about Peter Ward because he is worried about his family. The man then shows video footage of Peter Ward trying to escape from a mental hospital to find his family's killer. The video also shows Ann Peterson, who came to visit Peter. This makes Will suspect that Ann is involved in this matter. The officer continues the video and says that Peter Ward did not believe that he was Peter Ward who killed his entire family. Peter didn't like using his name and liked to create a new name based on the hospital ID. The officer continued the video and it was clear that Peter Ward's face was the same as Will's. The officer then said that he had been hospitalized there for 5 years and the name Will Attenton was the name he gave himself based on the hospital ID. The numbers W11 leader become Will and 81010 become Attenton. Will can't believe that he is Peter Ward. He then tries to call his wife and walks out. Along the hallway, it appears that the people in the office at the beginning of the story appear to be fellow patients at the hospital. He finally realizes that he is Peter Ward. Peter returns to his house, which now looks old and abandoned. He finally sees the reality that his family only existed in his hallucination. Peter lit a candle and his hallucinations returned. Peter tries to convince his family that they are not real. He makes his first child, Trish, realize that her name is Beatrice, while DD is Catherine and Libby is Elizabeth Ward. However, the hallucinations still refuse to go away. Will catch a fever until he falls asleep. He wakes up because Libby calls him. Their daughters also have a fever. Peter finds a gunshot wound on Trish and DD's bodies. Meanwhile, Libby continues to deny reality. He is mad at Peter, who doesn't want to help their child. He comforts her. Suddenly there is a knock on the door. The police come and seal the house because it is not livable. It looks like someone reported him to the police. He then sees Anne and asks if she was the one who reported it to the police. But instead, she asks him whether he remembers her. He barely remembers her. Then she asks if he sees his family. In Peter's eyes, Libby is still there, but Anne doesn't see that. After the officers leave, Peter tries to get back into his house. However, someone comes out of the house. Peter can't see his face because of the dark. The man then kicks him out and calls him a criminal who killed his family. The next morning, Peter goes to Anne's house and asks where she was at the time of the incident. Anne says she was at home while her daughter was with her father. Peter asks why she visited him in the asylum. She tells him that because she was a neighbor and Libby was a close friend. Chloe joined them. She says that she misses his family and that she was the one who sent a flower to his house. Peter now understands that Anne and Chloe are good people who care about their families. Anne gives Peter the contact of Dr. Greeley. She was the one who took care of him at Greenhaven Mental Hospital. Peter meets her and asks why he was released. Dr. Greeley says that because there was no hard evidence pointing to him. She offers to take care of him again, but he refuses. He is determined to find the killer of his family. When it gets dark, Peter returns to his house and tries to get into his hallucinations again. He forces Libby to tell him what had happened that night. Libby tells him that she heard someone on the stairs, and thought it was him. The next thing she knew was that she had fallen and their children were in pain. Suddenly, Anne knocks on the front door. She tries to convince Peter to let go of his past and leave the house. It is then he catches a glimpse of what happened that night. He who had arrived in front of his house was on a call with Libby. That time a man was holding a gun and pointed it at Libby and the children. Libby asked the man to put the guns down. Peter, who was still on the other side of the phone, knew that there was a dangerous person in his house. He ran through his house, but the man fired his gun blindly. Libby, who was already lying down, tried to reach the gun and shot the shooter. But she instead hit her husband. This is where Peter remembers what happened that night. He is relieved that he wasn't the one who killed his family. He hugs Anne. Jack Peterson suddenly comes. But he is with the man who killed Peter's family. The man beats Peter. Jack and the hitman use drugs to sedate Peter and Anne. It is revealed that the hitman was supposed to kill Anne. Jack wants to kill her to claim the insurance, property, and their child back. However, the hitman entered the wrong house and killed the wrong family. Annoyed by the hitman's mistake, Jack shoots him. He then puts Peter and Anne into the basement. He intends to burn the house down and let them burn too. Libby seems to be following Jack into the basement, but he can't see her. Libby tries to wake Peter up. It was as if Libby's spirit was there, and all this time she hadn't been just Peter's hallucination. Peter manages to get up and beat Jack. He then saves Anne and they both get out of the house safely. Meanwhile, the hitman pours fuel on Jack and causes him to catch fire. Outside, Chloe came and hugged Anne. Peter then went back into the house to say goodbye to his family. He finally lets go of his family and moves on with his life. He writes a book inspired by his life story, Dream House. The book manages to become a national bestseller. What do you think about this movie? Subscribe to watch more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like and comment to help the channel out. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.